Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter, and today we're going to be talking about the Iceborne expansion. More specifically, we're going to be talking about the value of Iceborne, because it has been put into question by several people. I've seen this on Reddit, I've seen this on Twitter, I've seen this on my comment section. A lot of people quite simply don't know what to expect from the Iceborne expansion, because most likely their very first Monster Hunter game was Monster Hunter World. So it is very understandable that they have questions about the DLC that is coming and what to expect from it, particularly in the state that the industry is right now, where most of the AAA publishers are trying to get away with giving you the least amount of content possible whilst charging you the maximum amount of money possible. We have seen this time and time again throughout multiple games in the industry. I'm not going to bore you to death with the details. I'm here to try and put your minds at ease. Now, before we begin, it is important to mention that I am extremely biased towards Monster Hunter. As a matter of fact, if you watch the trailer of my channel, you will see the name Monster Hunter being quoted on there as one of my favorite games. Monster Hunter and the Souls franchise. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne. I love those games, okay? The Dark Souls franchise, the Monster Hunter franchise, these are my two favorite games pretty much of all time. And there was another game they used to have a similar place in my heart. It was Diablo, but then Blizzard destroyed and bastardized that franchise beyond any possible salvation, so that game no longer holds such a place in my heart. Anyway, now that I've established my own biases so that you guys are aware of the fact that I tend to love these games, let's talk about this stuff, okay? So Monster Hunter World was your first Monster Hunter game. If you really look back at Monster Hunter World, what did we essentially have? We had about 31 monsters, I believe, at launch, and we had 5 maps. That was the entirety of the content of Monster Hunter. Now, some of you got like 60 hours out of it on average if you kind of rushed through the story. Most of you got plenty more. I myself got 1,300 hours out of it, and there's still stuff that I haven't done. Although I probably won't do, because I've done everything that I really wanted to, okay? But besides the point, regardless of how many hours you got out of it, I think it's fairly easy to justify the value of Monster Hunter Worlds. Now, let's take a look at previous Monster Hunter games to establish what a G rank expansion is, so that you guys can understand, because Iceborne is essentially a G rank expansion. This is something that they've done for every single Monster Hunter game in the past, I believe. Don't quote me on that, because I might be wrong on a couple of titles. Well, particularly when you start talking about the online titles, I don't know all that much about them. But anyway, the games that we're going to be talking about are Monster Hunter Tri, Monster Hunter 4, and Monster Hunter Generations, which are the last 3 games that, well, they're not the last 3 games. The G rank expansions are the last 3 games. But we're going to be talking about those games and their G rank expansions so that you can understand just how much was added in there just from numbers of monsters alone. So, Monster Hunter Tri originally launched with 18 large monsters. Interesting, like, looking back to that, I never really thought about it, but yeah, it's just 18 large monsters, which, like I said, Monster Hunter World actually launched with 31. So Monster Hunter Tri, 18 large monsters. Then the G rank version, or in the West, it is called the Ultimate version, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, launched with 52 large monsters. That includes the 18, the original 18 from Monster Hunter Tri, which basically gives you an additional 34 monsters. Now, some of those monsters are probably going to be variants. That means you're talking about, like, for instance, you got the Legiana, and you're going to get the Shrieking Legiana. That is a variant. Some of those monsters might be subspecies. Like, for instance, you got a Rathalos, then you got an Azure Rathalos. But they do behave differently, and they are considered different monsters for all intents and purposes. Now, I don't believe that they're just going to duplicate the monsters in Monster Hunter World by being like, oh yeah, we've created all of these subspecies. They always add new monsters, like they've already talked about. So I don't know the exact numbers of how many of these 34 monsters in Tri Ultimate were entirely new monsters, but I'm betting that was well over half of the 34 monsters were entirely new monsters. Now, Monster Hunter 4 launched with 52 large monsters in the base version. And not just that, it also added 2 new weapons, which, by the way, Monster Hunter World is also adding new weapon mechanics in the form of the Clutch Claw, the Slinger Burst, and a couple of more things. But Monster Hunter 4 launched with 52 large monsters and 2 new weapons to the franchise. Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate launched with 75 large monsters. That's 23 new monsters added. Again, some of those could be variants, some of those could be subspecies, but a lot of those were entirely new monsters. Finally, Monster Hunter Generations launched with 73 large monsters. You guys are like, wow, these are really big numbers for the base versions of the game. Yeah, I myself, when I was looking up these numbers earlier today, I was like, 73 monsters in Generations? Really? Jesus Christ, that's a lot. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is that the engine did not significantly change from Monster Hunter Tri all the way up until Monster Hunter Generations. You're still talking about the areas that load, the different loading areas in each zone and all of that stuff. And, the engine itself had not really evolved as much as it has for Monster Hunter World. So it was somewhat easy to bring in the old monsters, which is why you're seeing, in Tri you have 18, in 3 Ultimate you have 52, in 4 you then just begin with 52 because it just bring in all of the old ones plus, not all of the old ones, but some of the old ones plus a couple of new ones because Monster Hunter 4 also brought new monsters. It's not just the 52 monsters that were in 3 Ultimate. But then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, 75 large monsters plus 23. Monster Hunter Generations started at 73, and Generations Ultimate finished with 93 large monsters, which is an additional 20 monsters added on top of the existing roster of 73. And I believe that makes Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate the one with the most content of every single Monster Hunter game. Now, you can't expect them to bring 93 monsters to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. That would be ridiculous because they're basically making all of the monsters that were brought into Monster Hunter World were created from scratch for the new engine, because you can't just bring the old monsters from the old engine back into the new engine because it works very differently. Even though the basis of the combat, everything is still there, the game is very different, and as such, they have to create everything from scratch. But anyway, people have asked me how many monsters do I think they're going to be adding to Monster Hunter World, and I have stated I think anywhere between 20 and 30 new monsters. Some of those will be variants, some of the Shrieking Legiana, some of those will be new subspecies being added, like maybe Golden Rathalos Silver Rathian, or is it Golden Rathian Silver Rathian? I think it's Gold Rathalos Silver Rathian, right? I'm not sure. I've never really reached those higher ranks in the old Monster Hunter games. Call me a casual, whatever you want. I don't care. But that would be my prediction. Between 20 to 30 monsters, as well as the new map of Hoarfrost Reach. I don't think you're going to get more new maps. You're probably going to get some of those intermediary maps that you get every now and then, some special arena like we had for Xeno'jiiva, for instance. So that was a special arena just for that fight. You're probably going to have 1 or 2 of those added in there as well for good measure, but not entirely new maps per se. The big new map that you're going to get is Hoarfrost Reach, but you do have to remember, it's not like the Iceborne expansion is going to take place exclusively in Hoarfrost Reach. You're going to be going back into the previous maps to hunt some new monsters that are going to show up there, like you will fight the Nargacuga in the Ancient Forest, and you will fight some of the new subspecies in another place in Monster Hunter, So it's not just as simple as, here's this new map and here's 20 or 30 more monsters, and that's the expansion. No, the quests are going to have different things. There's going to be multiple monsters. There's going to be stuff for you to work on your master rank, by the way, which I think they're not going to lower your hunter rank, which is something that they've done in previous entries of Monster Hunter. Whenever you got the G rank expansion, they would actually lower your rank to a certain level, so that you would have to level it up again. I think this time around that's not going to happen. You're going to keep your hunter rank, but they're going to add a new rank called the master rank onto your character, and you're going to be able to level that up again. You're going to be able to craft God knows how many new armors. You're going to be able to experience the new monsters, all of that stuff. And ultimately, the point that I'm getting at is that $40, which is if you own Monster Hunter World, $40 is the base price of the expansion, is most definitely going to be worth it. And I know that some people are going to say, oh, you're making that claim, the game's not even out yet. And it's like, you need to understand, I have experience from following the Monster Hunter team for quite some time. And the biggest disappointment that I've always had with the Monster Hunter team has never been the content that they deliver in their games. It's always been the fact that they released Monster Hunter in Japan first, and in the West, we were always left in the wind wondering, are we going to get it? Are we not going to get it? That was always my biggest thing. Like, if you go back on my videos, you will find a lot of videos where I'm just like, oh, it's so hard to be a Monster Hunter fan in the West because I don't want to play the Japanese version of Monster Hunter because I don't understand Japanese, you know? I want to play the English version, so I was always left hanging. I always like, oh, I want to play Monster Hunter, but I can't because I don't have it. And the thing about World and Iceborne is that they're coming at the same time worldwide, so that is no longer a problem, and therefore I have no questions about whether or not they're going to deliver content. I'm 100% sure that they will deliver content, and you can quote me on that. If it turns out that Iceborne comes out and it's a disappointment, I will take the fall for it. Like, I will vouch for this team. It's that simple because I've seen the work that they have done in the past. That's just the way that I feel, and you can call me a fanboy, you can call me whatever the hell you want. There are some games that I will go to bat for. Those are the Souls franchise, those are the Monster Hunter. In the past, that would have been Diablo, but no more, Blizzard. Sorry, you kind of screwed us over on that one. But anyway, that is going to be it for this video. Those are my thoughts and opinions in regards to whether or not Iceborne is going to be worth it for you. And basically, the answer is, if you enjoyed Monster Hunter World, it is most definitely going to be worth it. You're going to have a blast, dude. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. It helps me out immensely. It really does support the channel in more ways than you can possibly imagine, and I really appreciate you for taking the time to do that. If you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. Hit the bell notification icon, though, so that you're actually notified when I put out videos. Again, thank you all very much for watching. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.